hands of local families, what this place needs is you.
To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org.
Because great things happen when we live united. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
This is WGBB AM 1240 and W240 DFFM 95.9 Freeport, New York.
The views expressed in the following program do not necessarily represent those of the staff, management, or owners of WGBB.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day, wherever you may be, whatever time of day it may be. I'm Rich Valdez. You are listening to Late Night Parents, coming to you live from beautiful Long Island and WGBB 1240 AM. It is a beautiful day, nice warm weather. One of the first couple of days of fall, and normally you'd think we'd be out here with long sleeves, cloudy days, windy, blustery, but nope, not at all. It has been warm, it has been sunny, and it's just a beautiful thing. So right now today you have just me. It's just Rich. My partners in crime, partners in radio will be joining shortly. There are some delays, so you just get to listen to my voice for a few minutes here. Lots going on though. It seems like these days, especially recently, the biggest thing in the news has been the president and his comments regarding Colin Kaepernick and the stance that the gentleman has decided to take against racism, against what's going on in the world. And as it looks like, many of his fellow NFL players are now actively getting behind him. And it's really, really a wonderful thing to see. So football season, they're out there today. Over 100 players, coaches, took a stand, locked arms, took a knee all over the country, actually all over the world. As far as this started this morning when there was a game out with the Baltimore Ravens and the Jacksonville Jaguars playing in Wembley Stadium, and they took a knee in London, which this is huge. You know, this is showing solidarity even when they're not on the home team, not on home ground. You know, Ravens coach got out there. Jaguars coach got out there. Moved us into Chicago. The anthem, the national anthem starts to play. And a number of the Pittsburgh Steelers coaches were on the sidelines, including head coach Mike Tomlin. Thank you, Mr. Tomlin. And while the players decided, you know what, we won't even go out, we're going to stay in the locker room, they made a huge statement. The Seahawks, the Titans, they stayed in their locker rooms during the national anthem. The New England Patriots owner, Robert Kraft, who has been a staunch supporter of Mr. Trump, donated to Mr. Trump's campaign, but he came out and made a statement. Now, we have an NFL owner making a statement. This is huge. So I'm happy to see that all over, everyone is now taking a stand, looking at this as being more than just one man's battle against unfairness, injustice. It's something that's taking over the world. And, everyone has their own opinion. If this all started because that young man, Mr. Kaepernick, decided he wanted to take a knee because he felt what was going on, especially in the United States, was unfair. And that was a way of protest. And, you have to ask yourself, protesting, nonviolent, not hurting anyone, this is the way that, as Americans, we have decided, we have come to protest against things from the beginning, before the country was even a country. What did we do? When things got rough and we wanted when we wanted to protest being in the country that was unfairly taxing us. Remember that, folks. Know your civics, taxation without representation. What did we do? We left, got on a boat, left, and went to a new world. I won't say that everything we did when we got to the new world was on the up and up, but we did it. What happened as we're here in the States? We protested. We threw tea in harbors. Not violent. Not wrong with it. Jump ahead many years. When we want to make a stand in a huge sporting event, you raise a fist. You stand there in silence. You don't hit anyone. You don't throw anything at anyone. You're not even making verbal comments directed towards anyone. You're taking a political stance in a nonviolent way. And that is the best way to do it. You know, we had Dr. King, staunch supporter of nonviolence. Mr. Gandhi, strong supporter of nonviolence. This is the way we do things. So you have to ask yourself, if you're standing up against a person who is following their rights as a citizen of this United States, and you're blatantly, aggressively against this person making a nonviolent stance for rights which they are due, what does that make you? If you want to sit there and have that attitude, as people have been quoted, I will say ignorant people have been quoted, well, if they don't like it, go back home. Well, I hate to tell you this, but your ancestors took us out of our home. So this is our home. And for a lot of those who are out there making those comments, I can probably say that you go back a few more generations, we've probably got more family and more generations here than you may have. But this is just my political rant. It's one of those days, but it's a good day. So what else is going on in this world today? We've had sports. We did have our Emmys. I'm waiting for one of our friends to get here, Miss Allison from BET. I'm sure she'll have something to say about the Emmys. There's been a lot going on also in the political world. Again, we have to circle back to Mr. Trump again and our friends in Korea and these, I don't know what to call this. This is worse than, like, you know, what happened when you were in school, the kids back and forth hollering. This is just two little seemingly immature people screaming back and forth, but unfortunately, instead of just, you know, some schoolyard bumps and bruises, we could have partially the fate of the world to worry about. What do you do? What do we say here? How do we, as a people, as those in the United States, how do we put a stop to this? How do we get this under control? Do we have to get out there and make a full verbal, vocal stance? Does someone have to get out there and say, you know, enough is enough? Let's cut this out before it goes too far. What do you think? What would you do? What would you say if you had the opportunity to get out there and say, all right, enough is enough. We need to cut this out. It's very interesting. So, also healthcare. We've got issues going on with healthcare. It seems like they are trying to do everything that's possible to get rid of Obamacare, or maybe anything they can do possibly to get rid of anything that has something to do with Mr. Obama. And now I'm saying this, as many of you, as those of you who listen to us know, I'm the Republican in the room, the NRA card-carrying Republican in the room, but I also try to be fair, try to be honest, try to be use my mind to think about things, not just toe any party line. So there's, when you look at healthcare, I know I'm rambling, going on a few different topics here, but healthcare. Mr. Bernie Sanders has a thought on that, saying let's go to a single payer method. And, you know, I am no healthcare professional, but to me that sounds right. I know it also sounds highly socialist. But I can't see why we can't take a system that's already in place, Medicare and Medicaid, and apply that to the entire population. You know, it's go single payer. Everyone, sure, there are those who will probably end up paying less, because if your family's like mine and you're working, you're trying to be that middle class person. Health insurance is not cheap at all. And then, of course, you've got those who are paying less or little because subsidies, assistance, whatever the case, whatever the needs are. And, you know, everyone should be able to at least go to the doctor when needed. So what's the answer there? That's a good question. I like the single payer idea. Let everyone pay into it, and everyone has health care, and it's fair. So we're looking at right now, it's about quarter after the hour, 7:13. We should be hearing very shortly. We should be getting a call from Miss Jelani Memory from Circle. Jelani, she's got the Circle device that one of our partners was able to listen to. This is a little device you put in your home on your network, which will give you the opportunity to monitor your children's internet access and, of course, any other person in the family. So I'm looking forward to speaking with Melanie regarding that. And I've been looking at a device. So this came in roughly, I've been evaluating a device called Cujo. It's a network application, network appliance. I received this about a month ago when I was at the PepCom conference, and we were evaluating this device. And I've had it for a while. I know my apologies to the Cujo folks, because we've been, I wanted to give it a fair evaluation. Now, this device, it's about 5 inches high. It's a little cylinder, maybe 4 inches across. Just has a couple of lights on it. The key to it is, now, for those who know me, you know that I'm an IT guy. I've been an IT guy for upwards of over 25 years. Networking, PCs, desktops, the whole 9 yards. So when I receive a device, I will admit, I'll be that guy. I will just briefly look at the documentation, and then I'll start trying to plug things in to make it work. Well, I didn't do the basics, read the manual. So had the device, plugged it in, figured, okay, this is a network device. Oh, it's got a power connector. It's got a couple of network connectors. One of the network is in, one of the network is out, basically. So my standard thoughts on network devices, especially those that do monitoring, it's got a filter. It's going to go in, going to go out. My fault here for not reading the documentation for my specific setup. Now, I have to give full credit to the Cujo folks. They really want you to contact them if you have any questions at all. Part of the documentation says, okay, we have two ways of doing this. We could do it the easy way or the easier way. The easy way, you call them, you get one of their engineers on the phone, and they will walk you through the process of getting it configured for your specific environment. Or, as they called the easier way, they would arrange for someone to come out and set it up for you. Which I was, I did not take advantage of this service. I plugged along. I then went back to the documentation, read it a little more thoroughly, got it configured on my network, got it configured for my devices. And again, because yes, I've been an IT guy for so long, I don't have your standard home network. I run basically a business network out of my home. I run servers. I run my own DNS for those that know what it means. So it's a slightly special configuration, but the device, after reading the manual, the device was able to handle it. It's a great little device. You do monitoring via your phone, your mobile device. You install an application. It tracks it. It shows you the threats that have been in place. It shows you the various devices you found on your network. It allows you to control the network and assign profiles to the devices so that, certain phones will say your computers belong to a certain member of the household. You can assign the rights and rules to that person, and by default to those devices. It's a pretty good little tool. I mean, fortunately, I haven't found too many things on my network because I think of the other configurations I have, but it's good. I will be doing a little more write-up on this device. You'll be seeing it soon if you follow us on latenightparents.com, and I think you will agree that it might be worthwhile for you to find. But now, in the meantime, I believe our caller is on the side, Jelani from Circle. I'm looking forward to speaking to you. Welcome to Late Night Parents.
Glad to be on the show. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
It's Jelani.
Jelani. Thanks. Sorry about that, Jelani.
That's okay.
So, Jelani, I have to admit here, as I don't know if you've been listening, so our member who actually had the device to review is not in studio at the moment. They're running a little late and ran into some traffic issues. So if you wouldn't mind, for our listeners and for me, tell us some about the device, what it does, what its purpose is, and what we can do with it.
Right on. Well, Circle is it's designed for average parents, so not the tech-savvy parents, even though it'll work just fine for them, but we wanted to design something that would work for just about any parent. So Circle pairs with your existing wireless router, so no need to go get a new router. And it'll recognize automatically every device on your network. It's all managed by one simple mobile application for either iOS or Android. And from there, mom and dad or whoever runs the household can set up profiles for each of the family members and set those specific devices that they want for those family members to belong to them, and then be able to set up things like time limits for online time or specific platforms like Netflix or YouTube or Facebook. They can set a bedtime so that it does just what it sounds like. If the internet disconnects at a certain time, they even get a pause button for the internet. They can get to see how their kids use their time online. Where do they go? What are they up to? And see that by day, week, or month, and compare today with yesterday. And really what it is it's a foolproof system for parents to be able to manage their family's digital lives, a tool that we think has been sort of much needed for a long time as devices, or homes rather, become more and more connected. And so really it's designed for families.
So the interface for the device, is this managed through the computer? Is it managed through an app on a mobile device? How do you connect to it and set it up and configure it?
Yeah, so it's all managed by a mobile app on, again, either Android or iOS. And again, we wanted to create the simplest way for folks to manage it. And there's one thing, I think, just about one piece of technology every parent understands, and that's apps on a smartphone. And that also creates a way for, it creates a barrier for kids to not be able to manage it, so they're not trying to hack into the interface through the web.
Now, when you set up the controls for your children, let's say that they try to do something that goes against those controls, does it set out an alert to the parent, or do you have alerts that you can configure? How does it react if the child says, let's say, tries to do something they shouldn't have been doing?
Sure. So when parents set up filters, again, they can set that up by platform and category, as well as for specific URLs, and we tried to create the easiest sort of pre-populated age groups for each of them. When a kid runs into a site that's filtered, let's say it's got adult content on it, or it's a dating website, or parents have blocked gambling websites, etc., they'll be redirected actually to their My Circle page, and it'll give them a notification there letting them know they've been filtered. And there they can also see their other settings, like how much time they have left online from their time limits, a countdown to their bedtime, and they can even track their own usage there. And of course, if they have the My Circle app installed on their device, they'll get actually a push notification letting them know that they've run into something, whether it's a time limit or a bedtime, or have been paused.
So this is Dr. Michele. Thank you very much for agreeing to be on the show. Question for you. So this works both ways, where the child knows what sites have been prohibited or restricted, or are able to know if the child goes to the site or a site that they're not supposed to be on.
Correct. And what we really wanted to do is inform on both sides, not just the parent, not just the kid, but both sides, so that it would spark a conversation, so that they were both armed with the same information. And what's great is those conversations can actually be really constructive and positive, because ultimately the kid hasn't made it to somewhere that's negative, so they're not exposed to that content, but it facilitates the ability for a parent to have a conversation with their kid about sort of, what's okay online and what's not okay for their specific age.
Okay. I definitely like that, because I am the mom of teenage sons, and I like to know where they are and what they're looking at and when they're looking at it, because I know, especially with my patients, a lot of children are up in the middle of the night on the internet. So is there a way that you can set parameters so that I'll just say maybe after 9:30, 10 o'clock, you can't use the internet, or everything is shut down until it's time to wake up again, like 7 o'clock in the morning?
Yep, that's our bedtime feature, and it works exactly how you described. You could set a bedtime and an awake time so that they're not surfing all night or up late night on websites, that they actually it'll redirect them again to their My Circle page, letting them know that they're on their bedtime.
This is perfect. You need to sign me up.
Great.
So Jelani, tell me, how do people find the device?
So what's great is we're available online on our own website, meetcircle.com. We're also available on Amazon, and you can go to just about any major retailer, from Best Buy to Target to Walmart, even Bed Bath & Beyond. Every single one of their retail stores carries Circle.
And how much do you run approximately, the cost?
It's $99 one-time cost. And then if parents want, they can add on a Circle Go subscription. And what this does is allow you to configure mobile devices, so when they leave the home, whether they join the Starbucks network or 4G LTE, or a kid goes over to their best friend's house, that phone will be managed just like it's at home with the Circle software.
Very nice.
I like that. So, Jelani, what we always ask before one of our guests leaves, what is the best way that any of our listeners can get in contact with you or get in contact with the company to find out more, to purchase it?
Yeah, I'd say head over to our website at meetcircle.com, and they can actually email me directly if they want to, or get a hold of our support folks, or just shoot an email into our general channel, whatever they please. And again, if they want to get a hold of me specifically, it's just Jelani at meetcircle.com, and I love getting emails from customers and prospective customers as they have questions and they're curious about Circle.
Very good. Well, Jelani, thank you very much for joining us. I think Dr. Michele will actually be evaluating the device now that she knows even more about it.
That's right. Most definitely.
Cool.
And something that I can also refer to my patients, because parents are always concerned, like I said, late at night, kids are up, and as a result, that leads into them being tired in the morning, not eating breakfast, and then, of course, not doing well academically in school.
Correct, yeah.
So again, Jelani, thank you for joining us. I look forward to speaking with you again in the future.
All right, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, see you. Bye.
All right, Rich. Well, thank you very much for holding down the fort.
I had to pull out the stops there. I don't know.
Yes, you were talking about a lot of good stuff.
Oh, you were listening?
Of course we were.
How were you listening? You were in the car.
Yes.
You were listening to 1240 AM WGBB?
That's right, 1240 AM WGBB. Loud and clear.
Okay. Well, how are you, Dr. Michele and Allison?
Hey there.
Yes, we have Allison Johnson from BET in the house with us.
You know, you should feel good. You've got me outnumbered now. Normally it's you that's outnumbered. We don't have you on that side of the table like that intentionally. It just kind of worked out.
I know.
I know you wanted your seat. You can ask Brian. I was even moving seats around so that both of you had the comfortable chairs.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're so kind.
That's right. You're
so
anytime.
kind.
So how have you ladies been?
Doing well.
Yeah, you look good.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good to be here.
As always.
Most definitely.
What's going on?
Well, I guess you already covered the NFL.
Oh, you might have some things to say about that.
Yes, we were going back and forth listening and then also having our own conversation about the NFL. So,
well, let's hear it.
Go ahead.
Well, I was telling Dr. Michele that, I really feel that this is a distraction. Mm-hmm. I think President Trump really wants to get away from some of the other big ticket items that he should be addressing or he should be concerned about. And, his administration is great with the pivot.
Right.
So here comes a whole new conversation that's somewhat exacerbated, looking at, the players and the teams and this disrespect for the flag, when he should really be concerning himself with the reports that are getting ready to come out about Russia. Mm-hmm. We should be concerned about North Korea.
More than concerned about North Korea. Yep.
Those are the things that we really should be discussing. Not saying that, racism isn't important. Mm-hmm. It's paramount. However, there's some other issues that are really serious that the country really needs to be focusing on.
I would agree. You just mentioned something that I meant to mention earlier about the flag.
Mm-hmm.
I am fully against desecrating the flag. I don't believe anyone has the right, nor should they burn it, step on it, stand on it, whatever the case may be. No, because the fact of the matter is that you're in this country and be able to stand on it, burn it, desecrate it, and not be shot on sight because of the way this country is and because of what's been built. Having said that, again, you don't want to salute it, that's fine. You respect it, but don't destroy it. And people need to also understand that that's the rule. That's how it is. But
that's also not what the players were doing.
You're right. Oh, totally.
I said to Dr. Michele in the car, taking a knee is really a humbling experience, and people need to view it as such. That it's not showing disrespect.
Right.
To actually go down on your knee. Think about people that go on their knees. People typically go on their knees as a form of prayer. And there were a lot of memes that were all across the internet today showing Dr. King and other civil rights leaders that took a knee during the civil rights movement. So it's really a humbling experience, and people should see it as such, and not that it's a sign of blatant disrespect.
Right. I agree 100%.
Even if a player is injured during a sport, what do the other teammates and even the opposing team usually do? They take a knee.
Right. Take a knee in respect, wait, give him a chance to get up and make sure he's okay.
Yeah, so it's a different story if the players are sitting on the bench and they're not acknowledging what's going on. They're acknowledging what is going on by taking a knee, and that is their way of saying, I acknowledge what the issue is, and that's the way that I'm addressing the issue.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And then, the next thing is, I guess, the whole thing with the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry and LeBron James and President Trump going back and forth on Twitter.
I try not to. I avoid at all costs.
But I think one of the things, that this country should be concerned about are the messages that children are being exposed to, in terms of the language that's being used, in terms of the disrespect for humans. That we really need to have a conversation about what this is doing to children, because it's really putting the wrong messages before our children. We want our children to go to school and to learn and to get along with their classmates. But when you have leaders that are exhibiting such poor behavior and poor showmanship, how do you teach children what is right when you have leaders and parents and other people that they should be looking up to that are just completely out of pocket with their behavior?
Even worse, they're doing the things you're telling the children not to do.
Exactly.
Calling names.
And being a bully.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, and this goes back to everything you learned in kindergarten.
Yeah, well, you were supposed to learn in kindergarten.
No, for the most part, kindergarten, you learn all those things. And in kindergarten, that's probably when you're the most innocent. You don't see the color. You recognize that there are differences, but all because you're a different color than I, or you speak a different language, you don't ignore the person. You still try and get along. It's past kindergarten when we forget everything that we learned in kindergarten.
I say you're supposed to learn those things in kindergarten. And seriously, you figure, again, being where we are, East Coast, major city, the education and exposure our children get is different than what they get in other locations, especially in those areas which may tend to not be quite as open to the diversity. I'm being very nice as I say that.
Yes, but I don't even know. I think in kindergarten, I think you do learn a lot. It's also what happens when you go back home.
Yes.
Well, it has to be reinforced.
Right. Yes. So what you learn in kindergarten in a majority of the households is not being reinforced when you get home. And there lies the issue.
And children learn by example. So it's one thing for you to tell your children what to say and do. But children see how you interact with your spouse. They see how you interact with your neighbors. They see how you interact when you're driving down the street and you're rolling down the window and you're using expletives. So children see that. So you can tell your children how to behave, but the biggest lessons they learn are really what they see the adults around them doing.
Yes, most definitely.
This is totally and completely true.
Speaking of these lessons that children learn, any thoughts on First Lady Melania Trump and her campaign against cyberbullying?
What is her campaign?
Well, she's, that's going to be one of the platforms that she speaks out against, and she's encouraging, discussions around bullying and not to bully. But her husband appears to be
about the biggest bully.
The biggest bully.
There may just be something to that.
There's been a lot of discussion, like how can she put forth a platform that she wants to combat this bullying when she deals with the bully each and every day.
Well, maybe she might show how you're not supposed to be, thinking that maybe he will change.
Do you think she's going to acknowledge that she lives with a bully?
You never know. I haven't seen her acknowledge much already.
I don't think she'll acknowledge it. I mean, as far as she goes, we've had this conversation before, I think. She wants no part of this. I think, picking a platform, and I have no problem with that platform in and of itself, and her being the one to speak out about it, because again, who best to talk about bullying?
I don't know. I kind of feel that the message is diluted when you have someone that just goes against everything that you're trying to encourage people not to do.
But does she? Because she's quiet. I mean, I think she's trying to stay out of the spotlight more than anything else. I don't see her, and maybe I haven't seen it. I don't see her as the bully in this situation.
Oh no, I definitely don't see her as the bully. Right. But I mean, he's the big bad bully in the room.
But I don't think this is something she came up on her own.
Yeah,
so it's her people who came up with her. So it'll be interesting to see which direction that they go with this, as far as how broad it's going to be.
If you're going to stand behind a platform, it should be something authentic. And it shouldn't be something that someone comes up with for you and says, here, this should be your platform, especially when you're living with someone who's a bully.
Well, at the same time, you have to look at...
He pushes that bully button every day.
Yeah, but who are we looking at? This is who we're looking at, the lady who is the First Lady of the United States of America. So it'll be very interesting to see which direction.
Maybe who better to speak on being against bullying than the one who has to live with the bully?
Well, I just hope she can be authentic with it.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, you don't want it to be... you don't want to see a bowl of scrambled eggs. Don't be a bully. This is bullying. This is you want bullying. Any questions? You don't want that.
Yes, it'll be interesting.
So what's going on at BET there, Allison? I know Emmys have come and gone. I know it's got to be just a big season for you guys in general. Nominations or not.
We had. Let's talk about the Emmys. I thought it was a great show last week. I was happy to see a lot of the diversity in terms of some of the winners, particularly a show like FX's Atlanta.
Yes.
It was really great to see Mr. Glover's win. I was very happy to see Sterling's win for best male lead.
Yep.
I don't think that one had been won in quite a few years. So that was really exciting. I was very happy for The Handmaid's Tale.
Which I haven't seen.
I haven't either.
Oh, awesome. You guys need to check it out. Okay. I can't wait for it to come back. And I was also happy to see The Night Of.
Oh, yes. I like The Night Of.
I was really happy to see.
So what did they win?
I think it was like for short story.
Okay.
Short form.
I really enjoyed that.
That was a really great show. So I was happy to see that. I was a little disappointed with the memorial tribute that Dick Gregory was omitted.
I missed that, but I heard about that omission. And you got to hope that someone was thinking more journalist than television, even though he did everything, comedian, TV, journalism. You just have to hope that someone was just thinking, oh yeah, he wasn't as primarily a TV personality. He was, one of his other fields. You hope.
Yeah, well, perhaps. But this thing that wasn't any lesson.
Right. No. Yeah. No. That's true. I just hope that that this spike in, again, diversity in these awards isn't just a response to everything that was said over the last couple other years. There's none. So all right, let's put some people up there, and then this year we have X number. Next year it's X number divided by 2, and then the year after that X number divided by 2 again. Let's just hope this is genuine and that we continue to see this happen, because it's only fair. I mean, let's face it. Especially when you get off of primetime TV, you get into Netflix, you get into Hulu, you get into all the streaming services. Yeah, there's a lot of color there, and it's good to see those shows being recognized for what they do, and the people involved in those shows being recognized for their performances. So it's good to see.
Yes, very interesting. And that's coming from someone who doesn't really watch that much TV, but I like to know at least the shows that I'm watching do get recognized.
Yeah, see, I haven't been, believe it or not, I watch very little primetime TV. It's what I see when I get home at night. I still do a bunch of the car shows. I have my couple, Game of Thrones, I'm there. Walking Dead, I'm there. But,
and I was going to say, and I've never seen either one of those.
Wow.
Thank you, Allison.
And you know what? And from what I've heard, I'm not the only one, so I don't feel that bad either.
Ted's the other one.
See? And I am praying that Ted Hicks, who is the captain of our ship, is having a great time today.
I received a text message from him about 20 minutes ago.
Oh, so he's playing favorites again.
I
have to take that back.
I sent the message first, so it was in response. So he's well. He's enjoying life.
Oh, good.
So he's good.
Very good.
So, all right. So let's see. What's some other things we had to talk about?
Well, we're approaching flu season, so it's important that everyone, starts to make sure that they have their flu shots.
I will be getting my flu shot. I believe in them.
Yeah, I am not one of those anti-immunization folks. I get my shot. I think my job actually is offering them in a couple of, is it next week? End of this week.
Yes, so now's the time to get your flu shot.
So now, do they give you guys like announcements? This version of the flu shot is different this year than last year, and with strain and all that?
Every year it changes based on what they feel is going to be the prevalent type of the flu for the year. So I think last year they were pretty spot on. A couple of years back it was extremely off, and so everyone who got the flu shot was still coming in getting the flu. But it doesn't mean that you can't get the flu. It just means that you should not get the popular strain of the flu that is in the flu shot.
So it makes you more resistant to that strain.
Yes.
But it's still no guarantee that you won't contract that strain regardless.
Yes, there is still no guarantee.
Okay, roll your dice.
Well, the key thing is just to practice good hygiene. So if you have
the
a
washing
cold,
of the hands.
Yes, but if you think you're very sick, don't go to work, because you're contaminating people along your commute, you're contaminating your coworkers, and at the same time, you're given paid time off for a reason. So take the paid time off, get your rest so you can be healthy. Wash your hands, encourage your children to wash their hands, get your sleep, make sure you eat. The same things that you would normally do. And if you do cough or sneeze, cough into your arm or into a tissue and wash your hands. That's the main tip.
Sounds simple enough.
Sounds simple if everyone only practiced
things you
that.
learned in kindergarten. I'm telling you.
How about that? Yeah,
kindergarten is the
you
year.
should have learned in kindergarten.
I don't know, Michelle. Sounds like we should be working on a show. The things you learned.
You learned in kindergarten.
That could be our next thing. The only thing I didn't master was cutting. I still cut a little crooked.
Thank God you're not a surgeon.
I was about to say, exactly. Hold on now. Put the scalpel down, Dr.
Thank God you are not a surgeon.
I know my limitations, and surgery was not one at all that I was interested in.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. When I was doing my surgical rotation as a medical student, it was right at the medical center. And all I remember is somebody's chest was cracked open. The surgeon was asking me a question about innervation of nerves to the muscle. And I said to him, "Do you still eat ribs?" And the whole OR was just dying laughing. And he said, read. Don't say anything else. Not even like med student Reed or Michele. He just said, read. Don't say anything else.
Wow.
And the crazy thing is I never had to answer that question. But that's all I was thinking. I was like, this just looks like a slab of ribs.
It's meat.
And I knew I didn't want to do surgery.
And that was that.
Yes.
Okay.
Right off the bat.
All right.
Yeah.
So now, you when Christmas time comes around, for those twins of yours, I mean, I guess they're getting a little older now, so one of the staples of Christmas time shopping for children, Toys R Us.
Yeah.
Toys R Us filed bankruptcy
this week.
Yes.
I mean, I think, what kind of a sign of this is this of the end of big retail?
But is it because everyone is shopping online now and no one is going to Toys R Us?
It definitely has to do with people shopping online. You know, Amazon has such a huge market share, and Walmart is following behind them in terms of the online deliveries. I think Walmart also announced this week that they have a new service where they'll actually come into your home and stock your home while you're out.
Oh, really?
Stock your fridge.
Wait, stock your fridge.
Oh, I can do my shopping now there?
Yes.
That's even better.
In some cities. It's not in every city.
It wasn't. And New York was not one of those cities.
New York was not one of those cities.
Too big to test
I think
that
they're rolling it out in smaller, more rural towns.
But wait.
But it's because that's. Online shopping has become the preferred method for so many people. It's how they do business. I got an Amazon delivery today. You typically think that deliveries don't occur on Sundays, but Amazon will deliver on Sunday.
Yep.
Wow.
I have a retreat with the job tomorrow, and we have to bring a brand new children's book for our retreat as a part of our giving back. So I knew I was going to be running all weekend. I didn't have time. Friday at work, went online, ordered 2 children's books, and they were delivered today.
You could have just gone to the store.
I did not have the time.
And you could have just gone to Toys R Us and you've gotten 2 children's books and prevented them from going on bankruptcy.
But if you hear tell from people, those Toys R Us prices were a little out of line as well.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Because I remember when every year we would get the Toys R Us, big boy toy, and the boys would go through, I want this, I want that, I want this, and I'm like, that's nice, you're not going to get that, but it's okay. But now we don't have to worry about that. They can just go online and go to Amazon and do a little list of what
I have
they
a
want.
friend whose children who are like 2 and 3 years old, they know how to go online to Amazon and pick out books and pick out toys.
Wow.
And they can do it very easily. So, it's become a way of life. It's become a part of the culture. It's what people do. With you, I do my grocery shopping online. I don't have time. And so that hour and a half that it saves me, I can go online, I can order my groceries, and the time while they're shopping the store and delivering them to me, I can clean out my refrigerator and I can have the groceries ready to be received.
See, I'm not there yet with the grocery shopping. I don't know. I think I'm going to find the best bargain, the best price, and I like to look down the aisles and say, let me try this.
Sometimes I enjoy that experience, but most often I'm very busy.
Right.
I'm juggling many hats, and it's just a time saver for me.
Now, Dr. Michele, you know what you can do?
What can I do?
Because I believe it's Samsung that has a refrigerator that actually will scan what's in your refrigerator, and when you start running low on things, it'll let you know. And you may even be able to tie that into Amazon.
That thing will become...
That's okay. That's what it's there for.
You are low.
You need eggs, you need milk, you need butter, you need juice, you need...
Just like fill up your refrigerator. But I was even saying that to Allison today. I said, I was away the entire week.
Right.
I was at a continuing medical education course. Got back after midnight. I was like, I'm exhausted. And today it was either get some sleep or go grocery shopping. And getting my sleep was the one that I chose. So
see, if
I had been thinking,
you could have ordered your groceries online before you went to sleep.
There she goes.
I was,
and then when you woke up, your groceries would be delivered to your house, and all you had to do was just put them away.
Yes.
It's a beautiful thing.
If I had thought about that, but I wasn't thinking about that. I was dead tired. I was asleep. I don't think I woke up till like 1 p.m. That's how tired I was.
See, not following your own advice.
My flight got in close to midnight. I was exhausted. There was no way in the world. It was a long week.
But I think, that's become the way of life. And I think it's happening not just with toys, with school supplies, with groceries, but people are having wine delivered. Household items are being delivered. That's what Walmart is now specializing in, delivering the household items. So I think it's becoming a way of life. And, consumers are looking for the best bargains.
Right.
So if they're able to, buy, in mass quantities along with the entire country and receive the best possible prices, the lowest prices, then I think we're going to continue to see other businesses go this route. I think if I recall, earlier this year, Cyber Monday, it had some of the largest spending that it's ever had in its history.
Right.
So that's the direction that consumers are moving towards, doing all of their shopping online, or a majority of it.
I was going to say, because pretty soon you're not going to have to leave your house anymore. I mean, because right now, even if you wanted to have a massage, you just go online and you can have a masseuse show up. So what's going to be next?
Well,
do they have pedicures and manicures?
They have the mobile hairstylists and barbers. The stylist that when I lived in the DMV area, she sold her shop, and she now just has a strictly mobile business.
Wow. And something you said about that, you think consumers are doing it for the best pricing. I think it's for the most amount of convenience.
It's a combination.
For a good price.
Yes.
There's no two ways about it, because let's face it again, the elephant in the room, Amazon, prices are great and it's convenient.
Yes.
If you want it next day, you can have it. And if not, if you're a subscriber, and 2 days later, whatever you ordered is at your doorstep. So, it'll be interesting to see how we're doing our shopping in, I'm going to put it way out there and say 10 years, which isn't really. But
it's not even going to be 10 years. It's going to be less than that.
But imagine what it'll be in 10 years.
It's going to be under 5.
How automated will it be? You get to the point where if you have to get into your vehicle for something, it's going to know what you need to get and drive you there without you saying anything.
Yeah.
And then the delivery will be waiting outside. And then, it'll know that your vehicle pulled up, and then the little robot card will come out, and the trunk will open up, it'll load it in, close it up, and off you'll go. And maybe you're not there. The car just does it by itself, because it's self-driving vehicle anyway.
I think we're definitely headed in that direction.
Yeah.
And I fully embrace it.
I was going to say, the only other thing left is just figuring out how we do not have to physically show up to work. That would be next.
Remember, much of the workforce is already there.
Well, you still have to show up to work.
If I wouldn't have to be at the office every day, I could say do most of my work remotely and then be in the office 2 days a week, maybe.
Do you want me to discuss that with your...
And I telecommute 2 days a week.
Go ahead, see.
I'm already doing it, and a lot of my colleagues do it. So we support that lifestyle. It allows you to have, for me, it allows you to have quality of life.
Yes.
Because you're able to take care of the home front and also handle your job as well.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Rich, our IT person, the technology is there that supports it.
You can have a soft phone, so no one knows that when they dial your office extension, it rings your computer at home. You're picking up the phone. They think you're in the office. You're remoted into your corporate network and doing all the work, connected to the data, connected to the shares. People don't have to even know you're not there. And you don't have to be there, because what do you have to do? You have to answer the questions. You have to do whatever your daily responsibilities are. And if you have to be in front of a machine to do that, it doesn't have to be one in an office.
And there we go. No longer having to have face-to-face human contact.
Yeah, that's... I miss that. I don't mind seeing people. I guess that's why I do what I do, right? I don't mind seeing the people, getting in front of their faces, saying, "Hi, y'all. How y'all doing?" And no, you don't have to be there. So were any of your patients or your friends affected by what's going on with the weather? Puerto Rico, Florida, Houston. Yes. I mean, the last few weeks.
Quite a few patients and friends.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, it's just devastating just to think that an entire island, I mean, not even that. I mean, looking at other places, Barbuda and then Mexico getting hit twice with the earthquakes. And people are questioning whether or not there's global warming. There has to be.
There has to be.
Yeah, well, we know who's questioning that, but I mean...
I said people, because I don't think
he's
it's just
prize,
one person.
He? He's not just one person, yes. It's not just him, it's a group of people. I don't see how you can say, no, there's no global warming.
Yes. So now it's just really figuring out how to get to those people what they actually need.
Right.
And that's the key thing, is just figuring out what's going to be legitimate as far as funds and where, to send or to give your supplies to.
Yeah, that's the thing I worry about, is you make the donations, and does the money really get there? You have to do some research. I mean, it's a shame that we can't just trust when, you're online. Let's just to pick a name. You're on Facebook. The message comes up, we're collecting for blah, 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 make a donation to this 800 number and, send your money, whatever. One, how do you know that the money's really, really getting there? And then what percentage of that dollar, of each dollar, is being applied to help whoever it is you're donating to?
Yes.
You hear things like the Red Cross that, all right, you give $1, but only, 45 cents of it gets there, or some number around that. It's rough. You want to help, but you have to find the right way to do it.
Yes, and that's the key thing. So I'm praying that eventually over the next couple of weeks or so, we'll know where we can send our donations to and the supplies.
And you hope that these locations that suffer tremendously, that they will get the structure that they need so that they can rebuild properly.
Right.
Because you don't want them to just exist. You want them to return to a time and place where they can thrive. I visited, many of these islands and had wonderful experiences there, but it's going to be years before they're back to where they were in terms of, their industry. And the sad part is that's how many of those islands, how they make their income.
Right. Tourism
and how they make their living. Yeah, tourism is their income.
Yeah, that was one of the key things that we were talking about during the week, because there was a young man who was sitting by me, and we said, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm just tired." So we were like, "Oh, you were up studying?" And he said, "No." He said, "My family," he said, "trying to get in contact with the family in Puerto Rico," he said, "is just devastating." And then here I am thinking, I'm like, wow, a year ago we were in Puerto Rico for Labor Day weekend.
Wow.
And he said everything is just gone. He said even the airport, and he was talking about the way the airport was built. He said it wasn't built for this weather. And so he said hopefully when the airport is rebuilt, that will come back as a stronger airport. But tourism is their main source for a lot of these places.
Sure.
And it's a key thing. So people are going to be without jobs. People are going to be without money.
Right.
Yeah, they show the lines at the ATMs. People had no cash. And when people are in desperate, dire situation, crime is elevated.
Of course.
So, you have to really be concerned about that.
I wonder, again, specifically around Puerto Rico, since their status with the U.S. being a territory, one, does this tip the scales for those who are against it to say, let's just make them a state? Because you got to figure, if the island is affected as much as it has been affected by this, they've got to rebuild the entire
structure.
It's gone. So they can't just turn the power back on. They can't. First of all, you got to get the cables back up down the streets so they have power, and you got to make sure every one of them is in a safe way, because you turn it on and then immediately there's a fire, or you're electrocuting someone or something like that. They've got to completely rebuild an entire island. And like you were just saying, the money, it's astronomical how much this is going to cost, and how many people there will be jobs, because figure construction is going to be very busy over there now. There'll be a lot of that side of it, but hopefully it's something that the people can get involved with, and they can turn this in, and people don't get greedy.
But you also have to think about, where does this money come from? Because where the United States will be supporting that.
Right. Well, we should be because they're a territory.
And we already have states here that have been devastated, that they're looking for money. You know, you're looking at Texas and the money that has to go to help rebuild, you know, Houston. You know, and you're looking at South Florida and the money that has to go to rebuild there. So, you know, as our parents say, money doesn't grow on trees. So, you know, there has to be a budget and a way to find out how does this work.
Yeah, so that also ties back to what we were talking about before. Like, those are issues that we need to discuss instead of who's bowing and who's not bowing for the national anthem.
I agree. You know, maybe next week, myself or Ted can do some research, or you can do some research, and we'll find out the best ways that people can donate and get those numbers out there a little bit.
Okay.
Definitely. Sounds good.
So we're going to wrap this up. Dr. Michele, as always, how do we get in contact with you?
The best way, Facebook, Dr. Michele with one L, middle initial C, last name REED. Phone number for the office, 516-794-2200, extension number 8. And remember that we have the Fit Doc Boot Camp that is going on Monday and Wednesday, 7 p.m., Friday, 7:30 p.m., and Saturday, 9 a.m.
Allison, if anyone and those who would like to contact you would like to contact you, how so?
I'd love to hear from you. You can reach me at AllieMJohnson@gmail, or I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Ms. Allie Rock.
Ms. Allie Rock. And me, I am Late Night Rich. Everyone, thanks for listening. Have a great week. See you next time.